team doesn't really have anywhere to go.
Yeah, as Jason Anderson also pointed out, a deal with the Raptors would likely include RJ Barrett and Ochai Agbaji. Scott Perry drafted Barrett when he was general manager of the New York Knicks. So if the Kings do work something out here, to me, the more I look into it, the more I think this is kind of one-sided. I'm not sure how interested Toronto is, which we'll get further into. But if it happens, what would the Kings accomplish? I think the first thing is it's almost more for optics than anything else. You trade Domantas Sabonis, then it is crystal clear. You're waving the "we are rebuilding" flag. Right. There's no doubt about it.
No. If you make this move and he's the best player on your team, maybe not this year, he hasn't been that, but he is the best player. He is the best talent on your team. So if you make that move, it's kind of like the foundation of a building, right? If you mess with the foundation of that building, the building's going to come crumbling.
And we all know that's the plan. We know that's the plan, but that would be the actual demolition happening.
Yes, well, and that's the whole conversation when it comes to rebuilding. So if you lose your foundation, you'd have to rebuild it versus if you take something off the top, a la DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine, you still have Sabonis as that foundation. So I think it would signify to fans, hey, this thing is probably going to get worse before it gets better, but there are going to be notes along the way and notes that matter. There have been some good notes this season, the Russell Westbrook triple-double and what the records that he's broken, DeMar DeRozan climbing up the scoring list, but they're not really building towards something. After you make that move, next season's probably going to be rough, but hopefully you get a Keegan Murray back, and Keegan's taking 15, 20 shots a game. Hopefully you get a top 3 pick, and that top 3 pick, you're seeing stuff there. So it's going to get rough, but you're starting to build towards a purpose, and no disrespect to this current team. Still very excited, of course, to listen here on the home of your Sacramento Kings. They're not really building towards something.
You would be getting back, according to what we think we know, RJ Barrett, he's 25. Abaji's 25. Emmanuel Quickley's been mentioned. He's 26. By the way, I think the answer to your question about who is their backup point guard, I think Jamal Shed plays some.
Oh, yeah, and he's pretty good. Don't get me wrong.
But actually, I think he came into the league as more of a 2, but I think he's been playing some point for them. And then Jakob Poeltl's been mentioned. He's 30. Yeah. So as far as the players coming back, Quickley's an interesting player. I don't know that they really want to move off of him. They're trying to do some things financially, and he comes up because he has a big salary. But, you don't know what your guard needs are going to be because you're not sure where you're drafting and who you're going to get there. Barrett would be the feature piece, and we know that Scott Perry loves him and all that. But, he's been a player who was projected to be better than it looks like he's ever going to be, frankly.
Yeah, and when you do the second draft thing, normally there's some type of caveat, right? And the caveat could be that you saw flashes, a la Tyrese Halliburton, for a second draft star. Most second draft conversations, because I'm not counting Shea, really. It was a trade. We should count Shea, but I'm not counting him because that's not the norm when we talk second draft. When I think second draft, I'm thinking a lot of the guys that were on the Pacers, right, which were helpers to Tyrese Halliburton, even though Tyrese Halliburton is another example of that star. But there's not a ton. So RJ Barrett, and again, that was a unique deal that a lot of people think maybe wasn't a good one. So you have 2 deals with 2 teams that probably regret it. I don't know that the Kings do, but with the Clippers and the Kings, and then you look at all of the other Aaron Nesmith and guys like that on the Pacers. RJ Barrett.
Obi Toppin,
but these are, again, role players.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yes.
Now when I look at RJ Barrett, I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, he had the opportunity to be the guy in New York. He had the opportunity to be the guy in Toronto. So the second draft conversation, even if we bring up Kuminga, didn't get the opportunity. RJ Barrett did, and it didn't work out. So to me, I'm not as high on him popping, right, as a star because he's had opportunities. It's not as if anybody's held him back. Raptors were hoping they could look back at that trade and say, look, we got an SGA out of the deal, and they didn't.
Right. His numbers are solid. And, we talk every time the new From the Ringer, the top 100 players comes out, we look at it, and he's around 80th on that list for what that's worth.
Okay.
So, he's a good player. But it's very telling to me that Toronto, a team that has designs on really making some noise this year in the postseason, that they're willing to say, yeah, we're good without him.
Right. Yeah. Even I know we were going back and forth in the crosstalk about Emmanuel Quickley. But yeah, to a lesser degree, Emmanuel Quickley and Jamal Shead. It's so funny, Whitey, when you look up dudes that you've maybe never heard of, right? Jamal Shead, you look him up, and he's the same age as all of the Kings' young players. Like, in my mind, Jamal Shead was at least 28. I look it up, he's 23 years old.
23.
He's 23.
Yeah.
Wow, he's younger than Nick Clifford.
He's 23. I can't do that anymore. But anyway, yeah, there are a lot of, and it looks like he was technically drafted to the Kings in 2024 and then got moved. Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of reasons to, and I know the conversation is just do something already, but a lot of reasons to maybe question why you have to move Domantas Sabonis and where you're getting better. In my opinion, he costs more, but I'd probably be more excited about Emmanuel Quickley. And I'm not that high on Emmanuel Quickley.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm higher on him than you are, but I know you've been consistent with that. I was talking before the show with Kyle Ledbetter, and I was telling him, look, if the Kings don't want Quickley's contract or Pirtle's contract, and you're sending Domas, then it gets really tough to make the deal. And he pointed out, well, you'd have to do, you have to throw some lesser deals in there, lesser contracts, and like Grady Dick might come up. And they've kind of, as Kyle was telling me, the Raptors have cooled on him a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, when a good team's like, yeah, we don't need these guys. Are you really going to, yeah, here we go. He is not a guy who fits that whole, we're going to build everything on the defensive end mentality.
yes, but even still, I would say, obviously because he's younger as well, I'd be more excited about a Grady Dick than an RJ Barrett because he hasn't gotten as much runway as RJ. I don't know if...
But RJ is Scott's guy.
He is, and he's a lefty. So I love that. But I just, from what I've seen from him and the molds that we see these days, he kind of plays a little slower, at his own
Logical
pace.
Raptors fanatic, by the way, Allen. You pointed out that Shed was a Kings pick. Logical Raptors fanatic, thanks for your insight. It was a pick from the Sasha Davion dump.
Okay. And now he's 23 years old, about to kick Quickley, about to kick Quickley out the crib.
I don't know about that.
Well, they play well together.
Whitey, Allen hates Emmanuel Quickley.
I don't.
Okay? Let's just.
I don't.
The number of shows where I tried to defend Emmanuel Quickley is actually a good basketball player,
He
and you're
really
just like
is.
garbage. It always hurt.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
It is.
It's a lot of money.
They
So
probably
you
paid
have
him
to be
more than
that.
they need to, but he's still a good player.
Then we need to be talking in the East. You need to be an all-star to get paid $33 million a year. I need at least all-star fringe conversations. You know how much Denny Avdia costs? Not $33 million a year. Okay, it's not a ridiculous overpay. Look, if you got to do the deal, do the deal. I'm just saying.
Quickley's playing 33 minutes a game, and he's averaging 17 a game, and he's shooting 37%.
What did he do
from
last
three.
season? He was injured last season.
17.1 points per game.
How many games he play?
He played 33 games last year, but he's played 46 this year.
What did he play the season before that?
The season before that, it gets really complicated because he played for about
No.
24,
Yeah.
68 games. Year before that, 81. Year before that, 78. Your thoughts?
He didn't play last season.
He's just injured, Whitey.
He's just injured.
He
hates
he's a pretty
him.
good player.
How old is he again?
He's 26.
Oh. He's younger than Jamal Shead. He's older than Jamal Shead.
He'll be 27 in June.
Yeah, both of these guys. Now, I'll give you this much. This is a good opportunity, and this other guy I'm talking about needs to get back on the court. If you want to build your little mini older 20s crew, you could have Quickley, RJ Barrett, and Keegan. That would be your three. Now, I don't think anybody would consider that a big three, but it would be a healthy three. It would be a respectable three for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that. But in my opinion, and then I guess you go get your young stud, and that could be something, I guess. But to me, that's just a younger double down, and you lost Sabonis. So now you need a center, or you're running Maxime and Dylan Cardwell. So to me, it's just a better PR double down. That's what it is to me.
Kyle had a good point earlier. Like I said, we were talking before our show. Let's say you ended up with Emmanuel Quickley. And I think he's better than you do, but I think we both have we probably agree on what kind of player he is. And let's say the Kings, you get him, he's 26. All right, he's got a chance here to do some things, and Scott drafted him originally, and here we go. Then you end up with the pick where you end up in the lottery. You're in a spot where it's like, wow, we got to take Kingston Flemings. Mm-hmm. Well, now what do you do? Then you're kind of stuck.
Right.
Because if you do, and we don't know where you'll be or who you'll pick, then it's like, then you've got another problem that you don't necessarily need to assume right now, unless you're willing to say, if you get Emmanuel quickly, he's our guy.
Oh, yeah,
point.
no,
And
but
that's probably not prudent right now.
No, but it would
Flyer.
no. But it must be very easy to move off Emmanuel quickly because everybody would want such a good player, correct?
He makes a lot of money, Alan.
Now he makes a lot of. I just said that. Can I get to my my reunion trade that I've been thinking about?
Union trade, sure.
Okay, because we don't have a lot of time here.
Right.
So I was thinking about this, and we said something off air, right, about the Raptors and their willingness to move off of RJ or Emmanuel quickly, okay? Mm-hmm. And we agreed that maybe it's more about RJ, maybe there's a little bit of redundancy there, okay? So I'm taking this in a completely different direction than Sabonis or anything like that. Now, hear me out. DeMar would have to be okay with this, but it straight up just works, okay? DeMar DeRozan for RJ Barrett straight up. Now, I don't know how the Raptors value RJ Barrett. I don't know. But if the thought process is he's a bit redundant, we don't know what exactly he's going to be with Brandon Ingram, you just do that deal straight up. You're getting off of RJ's money because DeMar is only owed $10 million next season. If DeMar was okay with it, he'd at that point come off the bench. He gets to go back to the playoffs, and you get to keep Sabonis if you're the Kings. You move off of one of the contracts, and Scott Perry gets his guy. Now, I don't know. Maybe the Raptors would say we need way more for RJ. I don't know what that value is, but to me, it makes a little bit of sense.
One of the big motivators for the Raptors, one of the reasons we're even talking about them making trades is they want to get under the luxury tax. Mm-hmm. So if that doesn't help them do that, that they would say, does not help us.
I believe, it depends on how much, but RJ's at 27 over the next 2 years. DeMar's only owed, he's at 24, then he's only owed the 10 mil next season. You get to see how it works and go from there. I don't know. Maybe it's a stretch, but we were talking about RJ and what that value is, and I thought, well, this works. Maybe it's a get out of my face, but I also don't know what the RJ Barrett market is either.
Yeah. No, I was